Hi, time for more rocket science. In our previous video, we discovered that a rocket can fly much further if we can reduce the weight. So how do we do that? Everything that the rocket needs adds weight. Fuel, oxygen, equipment, the astronauts, their food, water, everything. Can we chop pieces off the rocket to lose some weight? Maybe we can throw out some fuel or equipment. If we take away too much, we won't even need the astronauts. There must be a better way to reduce the weight. Let's investigate the food. We know that food is never really dry and dusty, so it must contain water. And we know that water is pretty heavy, so how much water is in our food? Let's find out. For this experiment, we need a source of heat, I'm going to use the sun, and a bag of frozen green beans. The beans need to be thawed out before we begin. First, we weigh the beans. Mine were 448 grams. Beans are made out of two parts, a darker green inside and a leathery bag outside. The outside part is called a tester, which has a lot of fibre. The inside part is called the cotyledon and is mostly protein. To make them dry out faster, we split all the beans into fibre and protein. Just nip the bean and squeeze, the middle will just pop out. Keep the two parts separate. Use whatever containers you can, so long as you don't upset anyone. Now we smash up the bean parts. A plastic bag works, but it's a bit noisy. A pestle and mortar is also good. An electric whizzer is the fastest though.
And away we go.
Now we just put the pieces in the sun to dry out. After a whole day in the hot sun, the fibre pieces or tester become very dry. You can even crush them in your hand. The protein part or cotyledon is still green and wet. After 2 days, both parts are dry and brown. Almost all of the water should have evaporated away. It might take a day or two longer if your sun is not quite so hot. Now we just weigh the dry fibre and protein. Just transfer them to some cups and put them on some scales and wrong! If we do this, we are adding the weight of the cups as well. The right way is to put an empty cup on the scales and then press the tare button. This subtracts the weight of the empty cup. Now when we weigh our powders, the scales will show exactly the correct weight. So, we took some beans, split them up and dried them, and ended up with 3 weights. What does this data tell us? Well, I started with 448 grams of beans, got 34 grams of dry fibre, 44 grams of dry protein, add those together shows us 78 grams of total dry material, subtract that from the 448 which gives us 370 grams of water. That is 82.6% of the original weight of those beans, so the fibre and protein were just 17.4%. Out of that, only 9.8% was the protein and only 7.6% was the fibre. The protein has the best food value, so if we now just put dry protein on our rocket, we save 90.2% of the weight of the food. So thanks to science, we've kept the food but reduced the weight by 90.2%, so our rocket will fly even higher and even further. Thanks for watching!